Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 12.
Today is going to be a new challenge, aside from being sand for. We're racing on the surface of the sun, apparently.
Heading down towards the main start line.
Maximizing that track just behind. That's exactly what we were talking about. That one corner. So critical to your lap time. You have to send it. Misses the apex curving there by a little bit.
Everybody's now bunched up, and you do not want that.
Rewind now at the end of Sector 1 in the spot you really don't want to, but the fight's not over.
Still there on the inside, and the McLaren's still not going to give the place up.
And we're off and away for SRA. Good evening, SRA. Welcome to D2, Season 13 at Round 5. We are in Zolder. I'm your host, Arjun, and joining me in the booth is Ilpo.
Hey.
How are you feeling, Ilpo, about this race? You had your D1 race yesterday, which was, I didn't see the race, but I can tell you, I assume it's pretty eventful from the practice race at least.
It wasn't actually that bad. I just got unlucky on lap 1. Wasn't a big incident, but it kind of messed up my race, and then I made a bad strategy call. Yeah, there were some things going on, but it really wasn't that terrible. Like, just a few relatively minor incidents.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's see if it is relatively clean for D2. They had a clean race last time in Nürburgring for at least lap 1. Let's hope this continues. And I mean, Zolder is a completely different track. It should be a fun track at least. Not a lot of passing per se. I mean, it's a difficult track to pass, but a lot of battles, a lot of back markers, a lot of tight close racing, as I'd like to call it. Anyways,
Yeah, it is a track where you mostly overtake if somebody makes a mistake, or mostly makes a mistake in the chicane, I would guess. But yeah, it's very hard to overtake on this track.
Yeah, this track has so many chicanes. Like, out of 11 corners, 3 of them are chicanes. So
Yeah, that is almost at the Monza levels of chicaneness.
well, I mean, it is a pretty simple shape, I guess, for a track. And also we know the reasons why the chicanes are there. And I guess tracks like this warrant that. But now we're in round 5. Let's actually go to the calendar right now. We're in round 5, right? This is the last race before we go on for a break, a week break, let's say.
Yeah, we need a break because a lot of us are going to Daytona in real life to watch the Rolex 24, and yeah, it would be pretty rough to come back straight into the next race.
Oh, for sure. And also, given that the next race is not an easy track, it's Mount Panorama. You need all the practice you can get to actually survive the race on your own, let alone racing in a really competitive split where everyone's right on your bumper for most of the race.
Yep.
And before we go on to see the race, let's actually go take a look at the driver's standings, because I guess he had a shaker from last race. We had 3 Mustangs at the top, and second and third are teammates. We have Ivan Recruit, Josh Damiani, and Brian Anderson. Josh Damiani, the winner from last race, with also Brian Anderson, who also was on the podium, and so is Kurt LeMay. So second to fourth are the podium setters from last race, and they're gonna give you some momentum to try climbing up to P1 and maybe extending. But we also have Nick Sand in Lamborghini. He has 1 podium, I believe, and a pretty quiet season so far in P5. With Jason Allen somehow in P6. I mean, he did get P2 in Watkins Glen. But Yeah, Diego's probably fuming in the chat right now, but he doesn't care. Ivan is leading. And we have Nico Suave, Eric Boardman, and Donovan Colton, and Paulie Harton rounding up the top 10. We had a lot of Ferrari battling in Nürburgring, and we might see Ferrari is an interesting car here. I wouldn't really call it super strong. It's pretty decent if you can, but over the curbs, it's kind of terrifying. And
Yeah, I think the Mustangs are gonna be pretty strong here. It's not necessarily the fastest car overall here, but it's pretty easy to drive. You don't die on the curb from the smallest of mistakes, which helps a lot.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And speaking of taking curves, we have Roy Key in P12. He had an amazing start of the race, and then unfortunately got a drive-through, and also got confirmation from chat he put dries on in a wet track. So, yeah, it is. It's not been a fun race for him, Nürburgring. Hopefully, he can turn things around. You know, he's back in the track. He's probably here to pick things up and actually make amends to his recent race. So hopefully he turns things around. And then you also have Coach Michael Jeffries, who also had a pretty good race round in Nürburgring in P13, followed by Louis Daniel Velez, Jack Krause, Andre Velasquez, Thomas Alhausen, Max Deggs, Ian Byron, and Logan Schaefer rounding up the top 20. And that's the drivers above 100 points. And then we have Matt Higgs and Josh Worley, who also had a pretty... Well, Matt Higgs got a bumpered card in Nürburgring, and Josh Worley got a pretty decent race. They're both tied at 99 points, followed by Matt Arden, Brian Ryder, Austin Weiscarver, and Michael Schwartz. Going on to page 2, we have Alex Krolchik, Kevin Kovash, Mike Gino, Jason's teammate, and Paul Kreska, Dustin Fickard, and Ethan Marvin and Jared Seckham. Ethan did not have a good race. Hopefully, I wish his luck turns. He has never been lucky in SRA, and I hope he finally starts doing well. And then we have Ark, who had a unfortunate race at Nürburgring. He's actually a fast driver, and I hope he actually also has his season turnaround for the better. Yo Sodre, Adam Santana, Andy Speed, Cody Platt, Doug, who I don't even know if he's racing. We might have to look. Hope he is. And then rounding up 41-42 are Kevin Riviera and Kelby Arrington with 0 points. Going up the team standings in no surprise with Champion Motorsports in the lead, followed by the Porsche of Eric Boardman and Kurt LeMay, the Altered Beast Racing in P2, and Sick Nance Racing. Lamborghini is on near the top, so Diego, you can cope. And then we have the first Ferrari of Philip Ellis Mueller and Thomas Alhausen, and then the second Mustang team of Donovan Colton, Ian Byron, and then we have the other Ferrari team of Jason Allen and Mike Gino in P6. And then we have the Riller Spacing team, Riller Spacing Mustang of Ivan McCroat, who is our championship leader, and Doug. Doug is, I guess, not getting carried to another championship this time, but yeah. We have the other Champion Motorsport Mustang of Pro Chicken Nico Suave, and the Champions Motorsport McLaren. We have so many Champion Motorsports teams here. Of Dustin Fickard and Roy Key, and then the other Champion Motorsports Ferrari of Paulie Hartman and Cody Platt, with the boss in the car. And I guess now's a good time to go into qualifying. I've been rambling about in this for a bit of year. So you said you are looking out for a Mustang, but is there anyone else you want to look out for this race?
Well, so since there are no BMWs in gold, I mean the McLaren is. I don't think it's again supposed to be one of the fastest cars around here in general, but I do believe it's really strong for like us non-alien drivers, let's put it this way. Like in some cars like the Aston, the way you do a fast lap time on this track is just absolutely insane. Like it is impossible to even understand how to do it for someone who isn't an alien. But in some other cars, like I do believe the McLaren, you can give up more time in the first chicane, which is the hardest part in some of the cars, and still do a pretty good lap. I also do think the BMW is strong, but there are none in gold. So I'm curious to see how high up Arct is gonna be once the golds go out, because that lap time he has on the board right now is extremely good.
Yes. I mean, he had a good start at Nürburgring, but he got spun around and got hit. And also, I got his livery on stream. It took a bit of effort, but we finally fixed the carbon car. But yeah, I hope Art gets a. He is leading right now. He's provisional pole out of the Zolder driver, and I hope he stays there. But not do like I said. But he also has the Ferraris behind him as well. And you also have Ian Byron with his half a second up on his PB. So is Andy Speed in the Porsche behind him. That's not good for provisional pole, but that would put him up there.
Yeah, just to put it in context, Arc's lap time would have been pretty decent for silver in Division 1 yesterday. I mean, obviously not quite up there, but still, like, it is not a shameful lap in any way at all.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, the divisions are so close that I don't even think it matters. It's like, yeah, sure in D2, but you might as well just put D1 times just because of how close it is and how interchangeable the drivers are.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they do take into account as well, like things like consistency. So you might end up in Division 2 even if you're super fast, if you're not the most experienced racer, if you're maybe fast on some tracks but not all of them and such. But that is a good lap time, and now there is even a faster lap on the board.
Yeah, we have Arc. He's good. He's going PB. He's 1.15 seconds up on his personal best. If he keeps it clean, which he might, because you know the BMW is super stable over the curbs, unlike the mid-engine cars, and he's actually improving here. He's gonna go back into provisional pole, and that he now starts his final lap for his time in qualifying. And it doesn't look like not a lot of people are improving. Even Marvin, his teammate, improving. He might gain a couple of places here if he... actually, you know what? He's gonna gain a good chunk of places if he nails his lap.
It is a difficult qualifying with 10 minutes because it's kind of borderline whether you want to just take fuel for the full 10 minutes plus one lap and use the whole time, and especially on this track, because on this track when you're really pushing the lap time and you're really sending it over the curbs, there's so much randomness, whether you get a good bounce or a bad bounce. On some other tracks you would definitely just like run a couple of laps, reset, take fresh tires, go again. On this track I feel like probably staying out is the best option, but it's also incredibly frustrating for qualifying because there's so much randomness. If you get lucky and you get a really good run through the first chicane, there's so much time to gain there.
Yeah, but also the laps are pretty short, unlike Nürburgring, which the laps are around 30 seconds longer.
That is true, but still, for example, I at Nürburgring, if I remember correctly, I did reset and go with fresh tires for the last lap, while here I did not, because it is much harder to get, at least for most of us, to get close to the full potential on any lap, just because of how hard it is to hit that first chicane perfectly, and the second chicane as well. The rest of the track is much easier, but especially those two chicanes, the first and the second, it is so difficult to... not only is it difficult to do correctly, but there's also that little bit of randomness there, especially in the first chicane, which you really need when you're really trying to find the last 10.
Oh, for sure. I guess the randomness definitely plays into qualifying. And I mean, it depends. Like, if you are gonna take the chicanes a lot more conservatively and not not trust in the RNG to help you, then I guess it'd be a lot more reliable. For example, some drivers, they don't go over the curbs in the first chicane, they actually go around it like you're intended to.
But then the problem is that will probably work pretty well in race, because in race it's much more about your average lap time. Like you need to just put down consistent laps. But in quali, that doesn't matter. You need that one incredibly fast flying lap. So yeah, that makes the qualifying so different on this track compared to what you would like on most other tracks. You would just do like you could do like a really good solid banker lap and it wouldn't be that far off. Here, if you take the safe approach, you could be pretty far off.
Yeah, as you see both Colton and Key take it super aggressively. Like, Ivan McCrow, oh wow, he completely eats the curb, and there's a lot of bounce there, yeah.
Yes, and it's whether you get the good bounce or the bad bounce, and whether you get lots of TC or a little bit of TC, unless you're the kind of crazy who goes TC off over the thing.
Yeah. I see Paulie Hartman here. He takes a lot more conservative approach, and that way it kind of that approach actually I find it pretty rewarding, because you actually get a good exit as well, because you don't have the bounce, you don't have the traction control working against you. Which I guess like for overtaking it might help.
I mean, it's really a question of like the really good aliens, they can consistently hit the crazy, the super crazy line, and there's probably some like really tiny window where it doesn't bounce from. For most of us, we can either take the safe approach and it's not too bad, like it's okay, or we can take the really risky approach, which sometimes you get a really good lap and most of the time you get a terrible bounce. And then it becomes a question of, well, how many laps of qualifying do I have? Like, do I want to try to find that last 10th, or do I just play it safe and get a solid lap? Like, not a great lap, but a solid lap.
Yeah, I guess, in the grand scheme of qualifying, because you have so many laps, because the laps are short, I'd probably, try to set a banker, and then I'd try to set a proper flyer. And then once I get a good time on the board, and then I'll start risking it.
Yeah, you definitely want to set the banker, because there's probably going to be people with qualifying bans and everything this far into the season.
Yeah.
And also, just having a banker means that it takes so much of the stress off you. Like, you have at least something. Like, you're not gonna be starting last.
Yeah. Right now, we're also seeing a lot of time difference as well. Roy Key and Donovan Coulter, they're so far down in the RPB. And then you have people like Jason Allen. He's 8/10 up on his personal best. So you are seeing a lot of lots of drivers risking it. Ivan McCrow, it's not pole position for him, but he did put the car in front of the other goal drivers. With Nico Suave following close behind.
It is also kind of tricky to get the tire temps and pressures right on this track, unless you go out into quali with like overly high cold pressures. It actually takes more than just the outlap. The outlap is too short. Your tires are still gonna be a bit low when you start the first flying lap. So usually the first flying lap isn't gonna be that fast anyway. You need at least one more lap before we start seeing what they can actually do.
Yep, that is the curse of a short track, and also a track with not a lot of heavy corners that stress the tire and heats them up. Maybe the first sector, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, there's only really like two corners that put a big load on the tires. Mostly it's just like braking in a straight line, which only heats the brakes and takes a while before the heat transfers to the tire.
Yeah, and that's not a lot of corners that warms up the right side tires, because most of the corners here are lefts. Well, no, wait, right. Most of the corners are right, which stresses out the left side tires and not the rights.
Surprisingly, I felt like it isn't such a big problem on this track. The two corners that have the highest tire load, at least for front tires, are in the opposite directions, which helps a lot, so that you don't just like burn up the front tires. Now, obviously, if you're in a car with rear tire problems, then yeah, that's gonna be a little bit harder.
Yeah. This is interesting. We still have a silver driver on pole. Actually, a silver driver in first, second, and third. And the top.
And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna have a silver pole, because if I look at that lap time, that's a really fast lap.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a really fast lap.
That would have been like almost in top 20 in D1. So for a D2 silver, that's a really fast lap.
But we are seeing some gold drivers improve. Like for example, Matt Higgs, he's half a second up in his personal best. Lewis is a 10 in the final corner, but you know, still a respectable time that puts him in P12.
I was going to say that Macron is well up on his best, but then he made a mistake.
Yeah.
But I also have to say the P2 Olhausen in the Ferrari is very impressive, because I don't think the car is that good here. It's difficult to extract the lap time out of, because it's not very good over curbs. The BMW and the Mustang are much easier, I would say. So that's a really good.
You see Ivan Marcotte here leaps over the curb. So actually everyone is just YOLOing it over the curb here. Like, yeah,
that's kind of how it goes. Once you have a decent lap down, you kind of go full send over the curb and hope for a good bounce.
Oh, for sure, but it's kind of interesting because, you know, I feel like these gold drivers, they would want to put in a better time before they start risking it. At least get ahead of the silver drivers, because
it's very difficult, because looking at the gaps, they might need to actually send it to get the lap time fast enough to beat the silvers.
Yeah. And also they're in a situation where the first 18, the top 18 are within the second up pole. And so every second, every 10 counts at the stage.
There we go. Macro puts it in P2. There's still one lap to go.
The one lap to go, and he is improving ever so slightly. But it's going to be interesting to see how he...
Sector 1 so far.
Yep. It's gonna be interesting to see how he takes the chicane. Like how much he YOLOs over it. Holy shit, yeah, he lost time there, but that was ambitious.
I think the problem there was that he didn't cut enough the first apex on the left and cut too much on the right. Far as I can tell, the best lines seem to try to cut as much as possible on the left side, on the first apex of the first chicane, and then limit the amount you cut on the right side, because on the right side, like, that's the exit side, so you're on full throttle, and if you cut too much and bounce, then the TC just completely kills your momentum.
Yeah, as Colton, he puts his Mustang in pole for gold and in the front row. But yeah, as like you said, what matters is the exit, and you're only get the best. You're only gonna get the best exit if your car is settled enough for the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it does matter a little bit how much you have to slow down on the entry, but as long as you don't have to like over slow the entry, then it's mostly about getting the exit out from the corner.
Yeah. So we see everyone coming to the pit, and that marks the end of qualifying. P1 is Art. He's our silver pole position and also our overall pole position with a time of 127.775. What would that put him in? in D1.
Almost in top 20. I think that would have been like P21, P22 in D1 quali. So that is a very impressive result.
Definitely. As we have Donovan Golden in P2, the first goal driver, followed by closely by Ivan McCroat, his other Mustang, and our first Ferrari, Thomas Alhazen, and then you have the other two Mustangs of Ian Byron and Josh Damiani, our winner of last race, and then Matt Higgs. We did not. That's a good qualifying from him. And Roy Key as well, the first McLaren, putting it in P8, followed by the Mustangs of Jason Allen, Cody Platt, and Mueller, and Nick San and Nico Salve stuck in the Ferrari sandwich, with Paulie Hartman rounding out the Ferrari sandwich in P14. With Brian Anderson, Josh Worley, Kerrick LeMay, Andy Speed, Krochek, Diggs rounding up the top 20.
Looking at the sector times, Arct made the whole difference to P2 completely in the last sector. Actually, even more. He lost a little bit in the first two sectors to Colton, but his last sector is over 4/10 faster. The entire difference is in the last sector. That is interesting.
The last sector is essentially just two corners. It's one hairpin followed by chicane. So
Yes. Without seeing the lap, I assume there's two possibilities. Either it's really optimizing the exit from the hairpin. I'm not sure the BMW should be much better there than the Mustang. The other possibility is that it's very easy to lose time in the last chicane. It is incredibly difficult corner, much more difficult than you might think. Just looking like it's just two 90-degree corners hairpin, but it is actually really hard to carry good speed through there.
yeah, and like you said, the BMW is on pole. The BMW is the favorite car here, and all he needs to do is just hold on, because the next car in class is in P4. But you know, this is over.
Well, I mean, the points are based on overall position anyway, so
Yeah.
he has a reason to try to hang on to that P1 just to maximize his points gain. But we will see. Race starts here can be extremely tricky. The first sector is very difficult on the first lap.
Yeah, I've seen several occasions where cars go too wide and sometimes even 4 wide into turn 1, which I guess ends as well as you expect it to.
I mean, even too wide, it is very difficult to judge where do you have to actually brake into T1, and sometimes you see people lose a position because they take it too safe, and then that can also cause people behind them to lose positions because now they're stuck behind someone driving slower and there's just nowhere to go. But yeah, it's difficult, and obviously it's made even more difficult by the fact that the next corner turns the opposite way. So if you can't clear the car that's side by side in T1, well, that's very bad news.
Yeah. As we have Matt Higgs. What's going on, Matt? He qualified P7 and he forgot to hit drive. That is
extremely unfortunate.
Or wait, does he have a outstanding penalty, which I missed out on?
Well, if he does, he should probably not have qualified, I believe.
Let's see. Outstanding penalties. Quality ban for Luis Daniel Velez, and now pit start for Velez. So we don't have any outstanding penalties for Matt Higgs. So he just really just screwed this one up for himself. So GG's, man.
Yeah, I see that Jeffries had a quali ban, and
Coach is sitting comfortably in P26.
Yes, it's gonna be an uphill battle for him. Aston is very difficult to drive fast on this track.
Yeah. So
Oh, we have a spinner. White Scarver spun on the pace lap and almost spun again, rejoining. He's now very far behind.
well, that's gonna be last place now that everyone's gone double file.
He might make it to his position. He's caught up with the group. I don't know if he's gonna just like drive through everyone to take his position.
We got a hole in the gap if you grid. As we go green, good start from Roy Key. He's gonna try putting up to the inside to get this box in by the Mustangs. Everyone's going to white as the Mustang gets hip check and Thomas Althausen goes for a spin. We have a crash in turn 1 already. What's going on? That's Jason Allen facing the wrong way, and yeah, everyone's dying. That's Jason Allen, coach. Cody Platt. Actually, that's not Cody Platt. That's Mike Chino. That's his teammate. So, yeah. But the race is still going on. You have a Porsche going super slow. I believe that was from an incident. They also have Jason Allen going super slow as well. But so far...
Arc lost P1.
Arc lost P1. Now he's in P2. But then again, that's not the end of the world. As actually, Colton takes a lead, which makes sense. The Mustang does tend to get the better start over the BMW. But do we have any more incident, any more stuff going around? No, it seems to have sorted itself out after turn 1. Unless, we have something funny happening in the chicane. I guess not.
I think they have kind of figured out where they stand in the file, and now it is a question of seeing how these people who got shuffled to the back can recover.
Yeah, so you have Andy Speed. His steering wheel was not facing the right way, so he did whack a bunch of cars in lap 1. So his car's in limp home mode, but
not ideal.
Yeah, it's definitely suboptimal. And you also have the pit with Philip Ennis Mueller. He might have gotten taken out. We saw a lot of Ferraris. That was like 3 Ferraris taken out in lap 1 or turn 1.
I do think Miller pitted just to clear the traffic. I saw someone pitting from the pack who didn't seem to have any damage or anything.
No, which makes sense because this is a difficult track to overtake to begin with.
He might have. I mean, obviously it is possible he got shuffled and decided that it's better to pit now to get out of the pack. So who are the big losers and winners here? Let's see.
Mueller is still in the pits. He has damage. He has stopped for more than 40 seconds.
Ooh.
So I feel like he's repairing damage.
So the big losers in all of this are Roy Key and Nick San. Key lost 13 positions. San lost 11 positions.
Yikes! Yes, they got tagged in turn 1. Now they got spun around. I don't know how much damage they have, but they did get tagged around. As Mueller finally came out of the pits. Unfortunately, he's coming out into lap traffic in the second lap, or the third lap is where everyone is. As we got a overtake from wrong BMW. Yep, Velasquez on Kraus with Paulie Hartman following through as well.
Velasquez was up 8 positions from where he started. That's impressive.
Yeah, in front of him is one of the big losers as well, Thomas Althausen, who lost 7 places from getting tagged in turn 1. Not the end of the world. He is in P11. Another big gainer is Kurt LeMay. He's gained 9 positions from the start of the race.
That's very interesting because I do not think 9 cars got spun. So he must have made some good gains.
Yeah.
By playing it smart.
And Nico Suave as well. He gained 7 places. He's now in the P5. And we're now starting to see the drivers, spread out more as they put in the fastest lap, and the fastest lap does belong to Ark, so he's not done with this race yet. Actually, no, Ivan McCrow's taking the fastest lap from him, but they're up in there. They're second off each other, and they're gonna battle.
I'm not sure how much the fast lap counts at this point, especially with how hard it is to overtake here. We'll have to see how this shakes out. I have a feeling a lot of the drivers are still kind of like in a place where they are checking how they are matching pace with the car in front.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But it is not impossible to overtake on this track. It's very much doable, and as long as you prepare your moves and you get your good exits when you need them, it is pretty. It's doable.
Or you can just wait for the guy in front to make a mistake, because mistakes on this track, at least small ones, are almost inevitable.
Yeah, as we have Kraus here try to get past Hartman. I did believe Hartman got ahead of him, and Kraus gets back past him as well. As we have Artem, it looks like he was out of position. He was run wide, and there we go. Nick San on Roy Key, going too wide into the hairpin. Nick San gets a hip check as Roy passes him.
That might cost another position because he lost the exit completely there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's late braking.
He goes into the pits, and I believe the pit rules are updated for this race. You want to talk us through the chat on what the updated pit rules are?
So I believe we can use a little bit like more than normal. So on the part of the pit entry where there's grass and everything and curbs and whatever, you can put 2 tires over those, if I remember correctly, which is a little bit less strict than we normally go.
Gotcha. When the exit or entry?
On the entry.
Okay.
I don't think you're allowed to go over on the exit because that would be encroaching on the actual racing surface, but it doesn't really make a big difference, to be honest. I mean, you might be able to carry a tiny bit more speed, but not a huge thing.
As you see, Dustin figured he gets a bit out of shape going into the curb. That allowed Ethan Marvin to get on his bumper. But I actually don't. I think it's going over the grass might actually be detriment because that just extends your braking distance because you cannot brake on grass.
Well, I mean, cutting the corners because there's 2 90-degree turns in the pit lane entry.
Okay.
So if you cut over the apexes of the corners, you obviously don't want to brake on the grass. That's not gonna really do anything. But if you cut over the apex curbs, you can go a little bit faster.
Gotcha.
I wonder if you. I kind of guess we are probably gonna use the same rule for Bathurst, where it's kind of similar. If you go over the curbs on the pit entry, you can save maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but those curves are gonna kill you. Have you seen how tall the Bathurst curves are?
No. The ones in the pit lane are fine. You can run over them. You can run over quite severely. Like if you look at the way the aliens take them, they run half the car on the grass just to shorten and straighten the pit entry.
Oh, are we gonna see a dive bomb here? No, he keeps it behind. That was cautious of Ethan Marvin. Oh, never mind. He runs wide ever so slightly and loses the place to Josh Worley. Will he also lose the place to Max Diggs, who's on his bumper? Is he gonna go for the dive bomb? No, but Coach is right there and he slots his car around the outside. But because Coach is on the outside, he's an Aston Martin, he's not gonna get the drive, and Roy Key tries to capitalize on that. But he also doesn't get the drive because he's on the inside.
And all of that simply because somebody took a little bit too much curb, and that forced the car wide. And yeah, that's how this track works. Any mistake on any corner tends to put you on a bad exit, and then you lose a position. Or maybe 2. Arc is right on Colton, while McRoad has slightly been gapped.
Yeah, I feel like in this track, instead of tire wear affecting your car, the tire pressures drop is gonna affect your car even more.
Well, that depends. I can tell you that I had no pressure loss yesterday, while the tire wear was definitely a problem. I completely killed the rear tires, and then I had no acceleration out from the corners, which was very much not helpful. But it really depends on how you hit the curbs. It's not necessarily how much you hit the curbs, it is the kind of angle of the tire when you hit the curb that determines whether you lose pressure or not.
Yeah, when I did the practice race, which only lasted for 20 minutes, I lost nearly a whole PSI of air from the tires, and my tires were pretty inflated. They were like 27 PSI.
Yeah, like I said, it really, if the tire isn't like really low pressure, it's mostly a question of how you hit the curb, like what's the angle of the tire when it's hitting the curb. If there's any sideways motion hitting the curb, that tends to completely pull the pressure.
Ooh, as Worley gets past Dustin Fickett. What happened here? It seems like Marvin lost the place to Worley and Diggs.
Yeah, I didn't see how it began, but there was a 2 wide, and anytime there's a 2 wide, there's every possibility that someone else is gonna gain a place as well.
Yeah. As these guys are still running in packs.
Arc has made a mistake and lost over a second on this lap, which has pulled McRoad close to him.
Yeah, but it seems like, but then again, McCurd is not close enough to capitalize on that. Not close enough to pounds, but then again, it does put him closer into striking range. There's so many
Yes,
Mustangs and one BMW.
It also means that Arc doesn't have the toe Colton anymore, which might have been what was keeping him up there, because while it isn't such a big deal on a track like this, it still is kind of a deal. There's some kind of incident.
We did see Coach commit murder. Coach.
Less than ideal.
Yep, it's not gonna help him because Coach is coming off a quality ban. That certainly is gonna upgrade or maybe turn into a pit start for next race in Bathurst, which I think that might be better because we get to avoid all of lap 1 carnage, but it's not helping Coach's penalty point K situation here.
Yeah, it definitely isn't ideal. I mean, even if it works to start from the back, you would rather do that because it's your decision to do that than be forced to do it anyway.
Yeah. And that puts a bit of separation in this field as Royke's 1.6 seconds away from this pack. And this is his teammate, by the way, so I wonder if his teammate's gonna try holding back the Porsche and allow Roy to get past. Well, that would be some spicy team orders in play, which it's fun. We're all here for that fun.
I would guess that would slightly depend on what the team championship looks like. If they are fighting for the team championship, they might want to play the team game, but if they are, let's say, not in the top 3 anyway, then why not fight it?
Yeah, Brian Anderson, Kurt Lemmy going too wide. That Mustang straight line speed helping him get ahead in this short straight. Strochik's on the back of Cody Platt. Look at that Ferrari's front end. It looks extremely battered. And also, yes, Donovan Colton is leading the race. Shout out to Grandma Colton. That's your weekly shout out.
Not only is he leading the race, but he's been slowly pulling away from everybody behind him.
Oh yeah, so the gap to Arc is now 2 seconds.
And McCrow is just about hanging with Arc, but not gaining. So I would say Colton is just plain pulling away from the rest of the pack. Byron is actually, I mean, not exactly close to McCrow, but he's hanging there. That's quite impressive.
And behind Byron is 2 more Mustangs of Nico Suave and Josh Damiani.
Yes, 2 of the 6 out of 7 Mustangs in top 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have 6 Mustangs in the top 7, and
Yeah.
the BMW.
If it wasn't for Arctic and BMW, it would be even funnier or sadder, however you want to see it.
So who's teammates in this mix? Colton and Byron are teammates. Ivan McCrode's teammate is not in his race. That's Doug Mitchell. Doug's not racing. I assume he's already on a flight to Florida. And you have Nico Suave and Brian Anderson, who are teammates. No, they're conglomerate mates, but not teammates.
Suave gets a really good run, but I'm not sure it's enough.
Never say never. Here comes the dive bomb.
Oh, that's a dive. But the X is gonna suck.
Oh. As Byron takes that position back, but Suave goes for a switchback as his car gets a bit out of shape. That is a beautiful switchback from him, giving him the hit check, boxing in Anderson, as Anderson also follows through, and Nico Suave, Ian Byron loses 2 places in that battle. That was a beautiful battle.
Yeah, a little bit physical for my taste. I would prefer if people could overtake without touching others, but yeah, it's kind of like if you fight too hard, you can lose 2 positions. That's kind of what happened to Byron. Maybe he should have just yielded it and only lost 1 position if he had been.
But I guess with how close Anderson is, it was kind of risky, because even if you yield, which
Oh, yeah,
is what he kind of did, he's gonna follow through.
Probably should have, like, if you really wanted to get really clever about it, maybe yield going into turn 1, because he couldn't really do it going into turn 3 anymore. At that point, it was too close, and Anderson was already looking to the inside, and like, it was impossible to yield without losing both positions.
Ooh. Be good. Be good. Oh, that's Nico Suave's teammate, Krocek. Wait, Krocek is Nico Suave's teammate? Yep. So Josh Worley in the pits. You're gonna see a bit of undercuts, and you are reaching the 40 minutes mark of the 60-minute race.
It is questionable to... The problem is that lap time here is less than 90 seconds, and the pit lane is pretty typical. The time loss for a full pit stop, for a tire change pit stop, from pit entry to pit exit is, I think it's like 58 seconds. But the pit exit is extremely long and extremely slow. So even though the entry to exit time is only 58 seconds, the actual real life time loss is, I think it's well over 70 seconds.
Which could put you a lap down.
Yes, and then you're in the blue flag hell. which is very unfortunate. So I'm not sure. I would probably say that overcut is the better option here than the undercut. Depends on what the front runners are doing and how long they are staying out.
There we go. There's our team order. Dustin figured let's Roy Key past him. Obviously, Roy is faster and he is out of place from the lap 1 incident. But that puts him in trouble, in danger of Austin White's car, who's also recovering from a lap 1 incident.
Yeah, a little bit optimistic look from Weiscarver.
Yeah, he does have a lot of damage from that incident. And we have Kraus still duking it out with Velasquez, and Nick Sand following right behind.
Unfortunately for Kraus, he gets a really awful run through the chicane. There was also someone who had some kind of minor incident in front of them, I do believe.
Oh wait, Nick Sand's a lap down.
Oh. Yeah, he has pitted as well.
And behind him is not Mueller, it is in fact Paulie Hartman that she lets pass.
So, looking at the front runners, Art hasn't really been falling away from Colton anymore, while McRoad has been slightly falling behind Art, and otherwise the situation at the front is pretty much unchanged.
Well, yeah, the 2-second gap has not changed as we have Cody Velasquez actually trying to get past Cody Platt here. As he gets bumped by the Porsche. That was close.
I think that actually in the end helped him with some extra acceleration, but yeah, it's not ideal.
I mean, bump drafting in the corner is highly not recommended.
Yes, there's every possibility that bump drafting in a corner leads to penalty points, so probably not a good idea.
Ooh, Josh Damiani got past Nico Suave. When did that happen? Did Suave have a bad exit out of the chicane? Looks like it. Yeah, it happened earlier. I think it happened at the exit of the first chicane. Also, yes, it is Josh Damiani and Brian Anderson. I switched to teammate as Anderson's now putting the pressure on Byron. Would he actually do a dive bomb like his teammate did? Or not his
Really
teammate, but
away.
Nico Suave. Or he tries for...
Yeah, that's risky, because most of the time, and I do believe it even in this case, the overlap is not there, so you are hoping that the other guy is playing nice and not going for the apex, because if he does, there's every possibility it's a penalty point for you.
Yeah, and he hangs around the outside for the first 3 corners, but unfortunately isn't enough to get past.
I did check, Suave had to cut the first chicane, and yeah, he was bouncing on the grass and gravel, and that's why he lost the position.
And that is an unfortunate way to lose a position, but better, cutting it instead of bouncing over the curb awkwardly and going straight into the wall, because RNG dictates which direction your car goes.
I mean, it's still a top 5, so points-wise, it's not a bad place to be.
Art comes back into the pits, and we have a penalty for Cody Platt as he, I believe that's speeding in the pits as he exits the pit lane. That's gonna throw a wrench into his race, as I think he just parks it.
Anderson got completely confused there. Byron in front decided to go to the pits while Anderson was looking into the inside, like, I guess kind of faking a dive or something. And as a result, Anderson braked just way too late and had to cut the final chicane and lost the position.
That's pretty cheeky of him.
Oh no, that was a lapped car that got past him. Okay, but yeah, he lost a lot of time, so not ideal.
This that's Artem. He's lapping. Wait, is that who is that? Of Andy Speed? Yep, that is Andy Speed. He was lapped after he had to do an early pit stop because his steering wheel was facing the wrong way.
It is curious that Krauchik has, by some margin, the fastest top speed of anyone. Even out of all the Mustangs. Most of the Mustangs don't even, like, most of the Mustangs are at least 2 or 3 kph down. I am curious if he's running like a low wing setup or something.
Yeah. Crucial in this race here, Arc does not get a stop and go dirty, which, you know, changed the shape of the race in 2 of the races they've done so far.
Hey, improvement, learning. That's all it takes to get better.
I mean, I feel like that is simply the worst way to throw a race, if anything. So yeah, Colton also in the pits. It's gonna be interesting to see if he rejoins ahead of Arc. See who has the better pit stop, because I believe Arc had he had a slightly slower stop. He stopped for 3 more seconds than he needed to. And you should. And he also gets a clean pit stop without any trouble. And he actually looks like he got the same time as Arc in the pits. So they both stayed stopped for the same amount of time. And the gap stays exactly how it started out, with 2 seconds between Colton and Arc.
Yeah, between Colton and Arc, both the stop time and the entire time in the pit lane is within a second of each other, so...
Yeah. And
Byron gained very slightly on them, but extremely small differences.
but that's gonna make a difference within his race between Josh Damiani and Nico Suave and Brian Anderson.
It might not. We'll see in a moment.
And Anderson's yet to stop as we see him on the gravel. That's not gonna help his situation out. Wonder if he's trying to extend it exactly to the 30 minutes mark. Roshi comes alongside Kurt LeMay. Is he gonna try to go around on the outside? No. Is he gonna try to switch back? Doesn't work. Simon McCrode and Josh Damiani, they both come out clean without any penalties. It looks like McCrode lost even more time to Art here. Yeah, he did stop for longer.
Yeah. He actually lost a lot of time. I would say McCrode lost at least 2 seconds to Arc in the pit cycle. His stop time is almost 3 seconds longer, and the whole pit in, pit out time is at least 2 seconds longer. So yeah, he definitely lost time there.
Oh, as we saw some aggressive darting from Krochik there as he tries to get past that Porsche. The Porsche is going slow. Or is that just the Porsche straight line speed?
No, I think he had a pretty bad exit there. But it's
Ooh.
very hard for Krochik to do anything with that, so...
Worley drops it over the curb and he gets a half spin.
And now the battle between LeMay and Krochik has become a 3-way because Kraus has joined the crew.
Wasn't Kraus battling on Velasquez? Velasquez is so far ahead of him. Did he have to stop for damage?
Let's see what we can find out.
No, actually.
No, the pit stops are pretty much equal.
That is surprising.
I mean, one big mistake in a chicane, a bad bounce, sideways, have to recover. That's all it takes. So, don't know exactly what happened, but
Yes, Anderson comes out behind Nikoswalwe.
LeMay and Krautchik were side by side there. They are still fighting really hard. Krautchik is clearly faster, but it is extremely difficult to do anything about it.
Yeah, as well. Wow, that's gonna be a bit.
Wow.
How they live? How did he
How
live?
did they die? That was bad.
As they go too wide of the chicane, Kraus get bounced. He got sent to the wrong angle, and he goes for a half spin, recovers. But that's gonna be the end of his intention in this battle,
At least for a while.
at least for a while.
Interestingly enough, the fastest lap of the race is now shared by Byron and Hartman by a significant margin over the front runners.
And the fastest lap that you're looking at is a 28.7 from Byron and Hartman.
Yep, exactly the same lap time, up to the millisecond. Although now Byron goes even faster.
And then, yep, that's a 28.717. Which, you know, it's about a tenth faster than the second fastest lap in the Mustangs, which I believe is from Josh Damiani. Well, I say Mustangs as its competitors, but yeah.
But then again, especially on this track, just consistency is so much more important than your best lap time. You could be doing a couple of tenths faster best laps, but if your average lap times are not there, then they are not there.
Oh, he gets a good exit. He gets a good bounce. But that's some aggressive defending here from Kurt LeMay as they go too wide into the chicane. But Kurt LeMay has the inside, but Krautchik's not done. He has the ability to go over the curbs. Well, the curbs that, you know, won't kill you.
Yeah, but it's very hard to go around from the left there, because once you get through the chicane, there's basically like two right-hand corners there. So
I feel like you can cut more of the second chicane, second apex in the second chicane than you can in the first apex.
well, I mean, technically the track limit is the same. It's simply that it's difficult to cut the first apex because there's such a massive hole in the ground at the apex that you quite easily get like a front lockup or something when you try to trail brake into it.
Yeah, Matt.
But yeah, it's just like when multiple corners turn away from you, then going from the outside is quite hard.
As Matt Higgs and Mike Gino go too wide there. Higgs get a really shaky run out of the first corner. As these two are battling, Paulie Hartman, he's alongside Weiscar. Weiscar has considerable amount of front damage. That's going to neutralize the Lexus performance completely. Because I don't know if Weiscar actually fixed Pit to fix his damage.
I don't believe so, and I do not think it's worth fixing here.
Well, I think Hartman did fix his damage because his pit stop is 37 seconds. He did stop in the box for 37 seconds, so that must be a new front end.
Yeah, quite possibly. I just don't think fixing damage on this track is generally worth it. Like, as long as your bonnet is not flopping around in the breeze and your steering is straight, it's just very hard to, even if you're faster than the other guys, it's so hard to overtake. So
Yeah, I think in this track position matters more than overall pace.
yes, maybe not as much as like the worst tracks, like let's say Aldo Park, but yeah, it's very difficult to overtake someone on pure pace.
Now we have this is interesting. Josh Worley is on the bumper of Kraus. Is he gonna stop him from catching up with the pack in front? We're still duking it out. Yeah, it just looks like Krocek has so much control of his car over these curbs. But Kurt LeMay has control over the positioning and just the pace of these two.
Yeah, I feel like Krocek needs like a plan. Like just don't attack everywhere, but like make a plan. Like I'm gonna bully him to go defensive here, back out before the corner, get a better exit, and then I'll have to run to the next corner. Because clearly just like what he's doing is not working. He's been trying for quite a few laps.
Yeah, so you have Mike Gino here trying to overtake Fickert.
And Higgs is right behind them because they are fighting so hard.
Also, confirmation for Diego. Jason Allen is no longer in this race. Oh, we got two moves here. The Hartman and White's car were going. Well, actually looks like Hartman's got the overtake done. This should prevent Alexis from making a switchback, which he does. And that's a great move from Ollie Hartman.
Yeah, these three are still trying to figure out what's gonna happen here. And that's three different mid-engine cars trying to figure out who's gonna take the points, who's gonna be in front.
Oh, it's difficult to keep a focus on two battles here without PIP. Yeah, it looks like Gino is faster than Fickert, and Matt Higgs might be faster than both of them. Except they just can't pass each other as Gino goes super wide and wonder if he misses braking zones. There's a slightly as Matt Higgs runs into him. But looks like Higgs came out worse out of this Kartoffel as he loses the position to Matt Artem. There's 4 mid-engine cars in this battle.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other difficulty on this track especially, is that if you fight too hard, you're kind of inviting anyone who's behind you nearby to catch up and maybe capitalize if anything goes wrong in the fight.
Yeah, as Matt Artem, he started last this race, and he's been from his qualifying ban, and he has been putting in the work. He's now in P18. A strong showing from him today. As now you hop onto the other blue and blue Lamborghini. Well, the other Lamborghini. Actually, there are multiple Lamborghinis this race. As Roy Key is getting past Matt Higgs' teammate Nick Sand here. Would there be a dive bomb from Roy? Oh, Fickert spins. Oh, what happened here? Artem also loses the position. It looks like he just drops it over the curb. That's just the RNG curve, completely botching his race. Oh, as he nearly runs wide, runs into Mike Gino and Matt Artem there. As Artem loses the place to Matt Higgs. And Matt is right on the bumper of Mike Gino here. That's terrifying. As I think nearly runs into Mike Gino again. This time he sacrificed himself ever so slightly. This keeps his car within the track limits and facing the right direction. Also, a bit of update on the leaders. It seems that Arc has Colton has opened the gap to Arc the second here. Not much, but it's from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot. As you have Krochik and LeMay still battling it out. Not a lot of progress from them, as Royke here, he's on the bumper of Nick Sandy. He's gonna try sending it on the outside. No, Nick cuts him off. In fact, he stays in the middle. But that Lamborghini has a bad exit. He has bounces a bit too much, and Royke goes around his outside. He's gonna have the inside going into this curb here. As he gets bumped and Nick's hand runs a bit wide, the stewards are gonna take a look at that. And we had this incident here. What happened here? As you have Kurt LeMay spin. I feel like both drivers are not giving any driver an inch in the corner there. There might be a bit of moving under braking to let the steward sort that one out. As Polly Hartman is trying to get past Kurt LeMay. And we also have Matt Higgs getting past Matt Artem, but there's so much stuff going on. As this battle sorts itself out, actually all the battles neutralize themselves. I need to take a breath. Kurt LeMay is probably furious after that incident. He's gonna try to recover. That is 2 places. Well, actually, I think 3 places that he lost in that one corner.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but on the other hand, it could always be worse. On this track, it's so easy to end up in the barrier with the broken car.
Yeah, did he get close to that? Was that moving under braking, or was that just overly aggressive defending or overly aggressive positioning for both of them?
Well, I'm sure the steering team will have a look at that.
Oh, for sure. I see. Have more updates. Nick Sand gets run wide by Royke. Matt Higgs get past Artem. Actually, no. Artem was behind Higgs. Why did he even go side by side? And Polly Hartman is putting the pressure on Kurt LeMay.
Looking at the stats at the front, Colton has managed to very slightly gap from Arc, and Arc has slightly managed to gap away from McRoth. The gaps are still only 3 seconds, which is not a whole lot for being this far into the race. Damiani in P4 has the fastest lap, and I think he's been catching a little bit to McRoth.
Yeah. But, you know, the gaps have been shifting so slightly. As you saw Ethan Marvin hop that curb, that's gonna be a broken back. These drivers need to make a visit to the chiropractors after this race. They're gonna have a really bad back for at least the next 2 weeks.
Well, better a bad back than a bad finishing result, I guess.
No, I think a bad back is worse.
Well, I mean, priorities, right?
I mean, sacrificing everything for the points. Your tire pressures, your tires, your back. Oh, Polly Hartman tried to make a move on Kurt LeMay as Austin Weiscarver is in the fight, or actually he's getting back into the fight.
There's quite a lot of changes in the overall.
Ooh, Polly Hartman loses it over the curbs. That's
Oh no.
another RNG's bounce issue. RNG's first curb bounce.
And that's gonna cost him quite a few positions, I believe.
And yeah, the bump draft from Ethan Marvin on Nick's end. Fortunately, there was no death.
So far, the big loser in this race, I think, is Roy Key, who is down 12 positions. While that isn't the most positions lost, I do believe points-wise, he is the worst off because he was relatively far up after qualifying.
Yeah.
And had a potential for a decent points haul. And now it looks like it's gonna be just a recovery drive.
And that's two bad races from him. He, like after Nürburgring, that's another unfortunate incident that ruins his race.
Yeah, that sucks.
I wonder if Nick's tires are just dead, because he is one of the earlier stoppers. The Lamborghini is not the best when it comes to tire wear. I wonder if his tires are starting to die out.
I mean, probably yes, but I also do think it's not just the tires that's killing his lap time, because on this track, I do think the car getting light from less fuel offsets the tire problem to some extent. I don't think the lap times were getting that much worse, even after like 50 minutes on a set of tires.
Yeah, you're right. The fastest lap has changed, and it's Josh Amiani, whose fastest lap is 28.3, which it did happen a while back, but yeah, cars are getting faster.
And Hartman is trying everything to get past Diggs, but it's not working, and now he's under attack by Key.
Yeah, and that is, they're both in the same conglomerate as well.
Looks good for Key so far.
Yeah,
I do think he's gonna get the position. As long as he doesn't make a mistake into the next corner, I think that should be done and dusted.
looks like Hartman did not even challenge that with how wide he ran in turn 3. Or maybe he's just playing it super safe, but I guess also another thing he might expect was Roy Key to get past Diggs.
Or at least fight Diggs, which is a good like if especially on this track, if you know somebody.
Oh, you didn't even finish talking about that.
Yeah, yeah, didn't quite get there. But yeah, on this track, if you know somebody is significantly faster, like someone who is recovering from an incident or something, you could just let them go, because they're gonna fight the other guy really hard. If the other guy is gonna defend, they're gonna be slow, and that gives you opportunities. So it's obviously a little bit of kind of a tricky game, because that guy might also think like, well, I'm not gonna fight this fast driver. I'm just gonna let him go, and then it doesn't really do anything for you. But yeah, sometimes it is a good choice not to fight every single opponent you can. Because if you're not realistically gonna be able to hold them, all you're doing is throwing away time.
Yeah, and you also have the situation, considering how difficult it is to be consistent on this track. You could just let two people kill each other, or just scare each other off into the grass or gravel.
Yep.
Speaking of battle, is Austin Wesker actually closing in on Kurt LeMay with the battered Lexus?
I do believe he is. And also, White Scarver is 11 positions up from where he started. That's a good result. It's not the most, which is Higgs with 12 positions gained from where he started, but that's still like extremely good improve. Like that's a good recovery from. I mean, that means he must have started in
Well, yeah.
P35.
White Scarf spun on the formation lap, and Higgs forgot to hit drive. They are fast. They just put themselves at the back with their own misfortune.
Yeah, that's kind of the worst way to go to the back. In some ways, it's not too bad because you can learn from it. You don't do the same mistake again. But it feels terrible. Like you can't even blame anyone else. It's just like I screwed up. Oh, that was scary.
Yeah, that Lamborghini's tires are gone.
Yeah, I think he needs to not push quite so hard with tires that bad.
So I guess in this race we've seen 4 ways to go to the back of the grid. Actually 5 ways.
Marvin made it past Nick Van.
Oh, we need to see that. What happened here? Oh, that's... He just had the inside and Nick just runs wide. I wonder if he conceded that to avoid getting a warning. That's also going to be another warning with all these cars jumping over curbs. Who is on their 3rd warning and who has warnings to spare? Judging by how conservative Nick was over those curbs, I assume he was on his third warning.
Maybe. I'm not sure in general because most people seem to have been very conservative all the way from the start. So maybe people are just playing it ultra safe to not get that even close to that 3 warnings.
Well, I've gotten warnings just by running over the second chicane curves normally. That's because like how fine the margin is from the track limits and
I mean, in the second chicane especially, the fastest line is to cut everything you're allowed to.
yeah.
With
Oh,
1,000 inch.
Matt Higgs crashes. He puts the car in the wall. You're talking about how good of a start he had, or how good of a race he had.
Way too much curb there.
Oh, that seems like an aero neutralized, so you should not have any instability problems at least. But that is unfortunate from him.
Yeah, that really sucks.
And you
So
know,
Anderson and Suave are catching up to Olhausen pretty quick.
wait, how did Olhausen get ahead of Suave and Anderson?
He's been ahead of them for a while, I believe.
Oh,
I'm not sure how that happened, but I do think he's been ahead of them for some time now.
Olhausen, pretty sure, had to stop to repair damage because of how battered his car was at.
No, Olhausen's pit stop was faster than Suave's and just a little bit worse than Anderson's.
So,
But so it looks to me like Suave and Anderson are definitely faster. The question is, there's only just under 7 minutes left. Can they do anything about it?
well, 7 minutes is too little time. As you see here, Ethan Marvin trying to force himself past Max Diggs. That was really ambitious from Marvin there, as they both have a really suboptimal line through the first chicane.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it'll. Oh no!
No, he's alive, barely. Oh wow, that's Fickard going past him. What's going on up here?
That, I think the only word I can put for that is that was a mess. Everything went wrong, and then more went wrong.
Yeah, that's an absolute mayhem here. As Nick Sanders came at the worst. And Ethan Marvin also loses so much track there. And another, we have Weiscarver literally on the back of LeMay. He has an opportunity with the Lexus's top speed if he, you know, does not have as much damage as I think he has.
I don't know how much it's gonna help on this track. None of the straights are that long. I think this track is like Porsche is really good on corner exit, so I'm not sure if the Lexus actually has any kind of real advantage here. I think they are probably pretty equal terms when it comes to the straights, because the Porsche has a better acceleration, and then at the end of the straight, the Lexus is gonna catch up.
Definitely. As oh, you have Roy Key here on the back of Matt Arnhem. How did this happen? I swear Roy got past him earlier.
Yeah, I thought so too, but stuff has happened, and usually everything always happens at the same time, just to make it hard for us, right?
As Matt Higgs loses his place to Diggs. And he is gonna lose his place to Fickard now. I wonder if his Lamborghini is extremely damaged. As Ethan Marvin here is also getting squirrely. He's not done yet. He's gonna gun it for that position. He's gonna gun it to recover. This is the race where his luck changes.
Extremely aggressive door closing there from Pickard, but it worked.
As he gets another opportunity here. He's getting the exits that he needs. He's getting the runs. He just needs the patience. And he just needs to plan his move out.
Meanwhile, Roy Key managed to pass Artem. He's been trying for a little while, but he got a really good run out from the first chicane, and that was about the end of it.
Yeah, it looks like Artem got a bit out of shape doing that turn. Going down turn 6. Well, Suave is on the bumper of Alhausen. He's getting closer. Wonder if he's gonna send it around his inside or his outside, or just literally anywhere, just not straight through him. Or straight through him, I don't know. We've seen that happen way too many times here.
Damian is also catching McRoad, but I'm not sure there's enough time. There's 2 laps. 2 laps to go.
Oh, and Marvin gets past Fickard. And Nixon almost falls through.
And that whole train has caught up to Higgs as well.
Yeah, it's not like Higgs can do much with how destroyed his front end is. As Marvin nearly runs into him, he takes out Matt Higgs.
Well, that is unfortunate for both of them.
It's sad for both of them as well. Their race is getting worse. Both drivers can't catch a break here on this track.
Damian is catching McRoad very quickly. On the order of 3 or 4 tenths per lap, but considering there's only 1 more lap to go, that's probably not going to be enough unless McRoad makes a mistake.
Yeah. If you haven't talked about... Sorry.
On this track, that's not necessarily very unlikely. It takes such a small mistake in one of the chicanes to lose more than half a second.
Yeah. And now we haven't talked about a leader of this race. Hold on a second. No, nothing's happening. Yeah. Donovan Colton, he starts the final lap of this race. He led from the end of lap 1, and he's kept his cool, he's kept his car out of trouble, and he is in the lead now. The gap to Art is only 2.4 seconds, but that gap has been consistent throughout most of the race. Shout out to Grandma Colton, their grandson is winning.
Yeah, that's. I feel like Colton hasn't been like giga pushing. I think he's been just like thinking like, okay, I'm not fast enough to really gap these guys, so all I need to do is to maintain the pace. I need to just stay ahead, don't make a mistake, be consistent, and just win the race.
Well, yeah, I mean, his fastest lap is half a second slower than Josh Damiani's fastest lap. So
Yeah, but that's the way it plays out, especially on this track. Doesn't matter how good your best lap is. Hot laps are not how you win races. You just need to be consistent. You take the safe time you can have every single lap over sometimes being great, sometimes not being great.
see, if you saw our battle going on toward the end between Kraus and Krocek, that they've got up to each other.
Yeah, there's also Marvin is really close to Higgs and Nixon is really close to Fickard.
But that doesn't stop the winner, Donovan Colton. He wins Zolder in D2 round 5. That's his luck changing over the course of the season. And Ark with a really good P2 after his terrifyingly bad Nürburgring race, with Ivan Recruit running up the podium places. And Nico Suave looks like he finishes behind Thomas Hollenhausen, and so does Brian Anderson. The race is not over yet. We got Nick Sand versus Dustin Fickard here. They're still battling out. Wonder if Nick is gonna try selling a Hail Mary. We've seen that happen. We've seen drivers try that out this season so far. As Hartman's slowing down. What happened here? We can't watch because you have more stuff happening. Actually, never mind. They did not do much. It looks like they're gonna finish the race as they stand right now. As Artem and Paulie Hartman cross the line. Wonder what happened. Let's actually go back 30 seconds. No, 30 seconds is too short. But yeah, that is the end of this race here. Let's look at our standing. Let's look at it's Colton, Art, and McCrow. They're the podium sitters for this race. Wow, what an eventful race!
Definitely.
Yeah, that race was crazy from start to finish. Oh, I need to catch my breath. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the interviews now. Then I guess we can talk about our race before we head off for break. Let's actually start with our winner for this race, because we actually see Donovan Colton in the D1 chat. I'm gonna pull him over. Donovan Colton, you are in the D2 commentary booth. You have us.
Hey, yep.
Oh my god, I have to turn you down. You're loud.
Oh, sorry.
All good. Congrats on winning the race. How does it feel to win a race after I guess this is your first win this season, right?
Yes, it is. It's my first win since D5 in season 10. And yeah, it feels really good. I can't help but feel I got a little bit lucky with everything there, but it feels great. I was not expecting much coming into this race, so I'll take it.
I mean, I don't think you can put that down to luck. I mean, you might not have gapped everyone behind you, but you still had the pace. They never got close. You just held it. So that's like you deserve that win.
It was a little bit like balancing, like looking at the delta, seeing like how hard I should push it over the curbs. Like I was really hoping to keep that delta about the same, because I was also worried about the tires. I wasn't a fan of how early Arc went in. I mean, it wasn't even that early, but it was still early enough to where I was a little bit worried because the tires didn't feel great on the first stint, but the second stint felt a lot better. I think I just got into a bit of a rhythm, so feeling pretty good about it.
Was that a reactionary? Was that a reaction to his undercut? Were you fearing that he might undercut you despite being 2 seconds 2 seconds back?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I just didn't want to risk it. I didn't think that he was going to be coming out ahead of me. Fortunately, I mean, I don't know how his pit stop was. My pit stop felt pretty good. So, the delta seemed like it was pretty much the exact same when he went in, versus when I came out. So I wasn't, yeah, it was reactionary. I wasn't too worried, but I did not want to risk it.
Yeah, it did look like you both did have identical time stopped, and looks like we both have pretty identical pit time, same outlap. So yeah, not a lot of scene. Even pretty similar fastest laps as well. I think it was like 300 separating your fastest lap. So
Oh wow. Yeah, it didn't feel like I didn't feel like I had insane pace or anything like that. Like I didn't feel like, yeah, my pace was all that good, to be honest. But the thing that I did feel like was, I think there was decent consistency. I made, quite a bit of small mistakes here and there, but nothing like too, huge. Like I would lose like up to like 4 or 5 tenths sometimes, but nothing too big.
I think that's the point I made a couple of times during the broadcast, is that especially on this track, you don't win by having the best lap time. You win by having the best consistency.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was. I it's funny because this season has been a bit of a disaster for me because I feel like I've had decent pace. I feel like I should have won Watkins, but I was killed at the bus stop, and so the I've been grinding so much on this. Was like the first race that I didn't really practice all that much. I just started learning the track on Friday. I did not feel like I wasn't really necessarily feeling it, but I after the practice race I had a bit of a coaching session from Dan Cran, and it definitely helped out a ton with my pace and feeling really comfortable with the car there. So yeah, huge shout out to Dan for that.
you did shout it out in chat. So there you go. You got the credit, Dan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, you're going to Daytona this weekend, right? You have any
I am.
celebration plans for the win?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I gotta go into Daytona, especially. I mean, I gotta leave for the airport in like 6 hours, so I'm gonna have to like try to get some sleep because I got a super early flight. But
Oh, you have it even worse than I do. My flight is, I think, like 6:30 local
oh,
time, so I have
oh
like
yeah,
10 hours.
oh yeah, there you go.
And I got work.
Oh, bummer. Yeah,
All right. Yeah. You got any shout outs before
yeah,
you
yeah,
get back?
absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Grandma Colton. Shout out to my parents for watching and supporting. And shout out to the OBDA guys. I mean, there's too many names to name with those guys. I mean, they're such an awesome group of guys. So yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of them. And shout out to Ian too for the P5 too. So it's a good team finish.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys walked out with the maximum points out of, well, not maximum points, but the most points out of this race in the team series. So
Yeah. Well, we haven't had the best luck this season, so we're gonna take that for sure.
yeah, but I can't accept OBDA winning races in D2. You guys need to go with a complete rebranding here.
Yeah. Nah, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, Ilpo, you got any more questions for him before we let him get his beauty rest?
I think he needs his sleep. So.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Hope
thank
you have fun in Daytona.
Will do.
See you 2 weeks later. I'm gonna put you back in the chat now. All right. Bye. And yeah, that was our P1 winner. P1, not P1, aka our winner. Oh my god, I'm so tired for the day. And now we move on to second place. Who was it? Art? I do not see him in the chat. Art, if you are watching the stream, please hop on the race chat if you are down for an interview. And in the meantime, let's hop on to our third place finisher, I believe is Ivan McCroat. Lopo, you want to correct me on that?
Let me check on that.
Because there's so many Mustangs, it's so easy to get them confused.
Yes, so I do believe the top three was Colton, Arct, and McCroat.
Okay, so let's pull McCroat up here. I can find him. There we go. Ivan McCroat, you are in the D2 commentary booth. You have us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome back to the booth. Congrats on your podium position.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
That was a good race.
Yeah, it seems like you had a pretty lonely race up in front, and then you got close, and then you got far away, and then you got chased. So talk us through your race.
Yeah, I didn't have anyone in front of me to fight with, but I had Damiani behind me, just slowly, like, you know, that like just shark music, just constantly. It was horrible. Like, watching him get closer and closer, seeing the mistakes I'm making as we go. Oh my god, I don't want to do that again. I'm glad I finished ahead of him. I'm just talking to him right now. I'm so happy I finished ahead of him, because if we actually had to fight, I had nothing left. I think like it would have been like any dive, I would have been sliding all over the place and just like making terrible mistakes. I don't know how I would have been defended. So I'm very glad it was over.
Did you have any tire issues, or was your tires underinflated from running over all those curves?
The tires were okay, honestly. Like, it didn't feel like, in terms of pressures, I didn't lose too much. I lost, obviously, but not a huge amount. It's the sort of like, and the tire wear didn't feel like too bad by the end of it, but you could tell that it was a little bit more loose. And so, like, my lack of precision entering corners and things like that just like add up. You hit, like, you know, that the sand on the left side at the end of sector 1 before the first chicane.
Yeah,
like, just dipping your wheels in there, you lose 2-3 tenths, and it happens like super easy. Just the car just slides out a little bit, and I made that mistake several times, and I'm like, damn it, you didn't even have to try to make up this time. But luckily he was sort of like at the edge of his pace as well, and so he was making mistakes as well, and then, you know, he'd gain and then lose.
Yeah, both of you pushed so hard in the second stint, got like the first and second fastest laps.
Yeah.
So it looks like you both were running away from each other. It was like, well, you were catching, slowly creeping up on Art, and then you weren't.
Yeah, I would make like a mistake that cost me a full second, and then for another 10 minutes I'm catching up, and then make another mistake that costs a full second.
That is exactly this track. Like, that's Zolder in a nutshell. The guy who is fastest isn't the one who has the best single lap time. It's the guy who has the best average lap time. A single mistake can cost you that second.
I agree 100%.
That's just
I died like 3 times in the practice race, so I had to try to figure out like a quote unquote safe way to go through the chicane, and I feel like I did, but there were like 2 moments of no, there were 3 moments of like near death, where just like bad bounce, and I'm like, I'm off to one side, I'm drifting, something's wrong, and I got lucky, honestly. Like, if these were 1.5-hour races, I feel like I would have died. I don't know how I would have like continued to just like barely save it and continue driving.
Yeah, and I mean, if you know how, if you die in practice race, you now know how to not die by not replicating what you did to kill yourself. So
yeah, but with 30-minute-old tires, it's really hard to do.
yeah, it is definitely an adventure with like tires degrading so fast. And
yeah.
Right.
I hope that how was the race for you guys commentating? Like, was there a lot of action?
Eventful.
I know that there was accidents. Yeah. So like, at least it was fun for you to watch an absolutely crazy race, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of tricky because there would be a little bit of a quiet moment and then 3 different things happening at the same time.
Yeah,
yep.
We had multiple overtakes, multiple pass attempts, multiple dying over the first chicane curbs. Many outbraking, and I'm gonna run into you sort of incidents. So it has been. The stewards have their work cut out for the next 2 weeks. They're gonna come back from Daytona. They're gonna see a huge list of incidents.
Oh yeah, they're gonna need that extra time.
They're gonna need extra time. Yeah, they're gonna go to Daytona. They come back to a huge report. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to like watching the stream back and seeing how the beginning went, because I know that as I know that there was a crash, or I forget who, but somebody slid out in T1 on lap 1, just like when the race started, and I'm like, oh my god, was it netcode? Was he next to me? Because I was sort of like, I was going through the corner, I was ahead of him, but I didn't know if maybe he like somehow, if there was a contact. So I'm like, oh god, please, no. But nobody said anything. I think Dan was watching the race and no one said anything to me. I was like, all right, maybe I'm safe. Netcode is just the worst.
Yeah, if you did catch a glimpse of it, I don't remember. It looked like it was a touch from the back.
So I would say the T1 incident wasn't really netcode, and I mean, there's always the argument to be made, but yeah, I don't think it was netcode, and it was quite bad.
It was, oh yeah? Oh. So stewards are gonna have a field day with that? Okay. Yeah, I gotta watch it back.
Yeah, so P4 got bumped, and that started the whole thing off, and then everything went wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in chat with Jason, and he I think he got hit. He had like 70 seconds of damage or something. He was like, all right, guys, see you later.
Yep, Jason did die. To a bunch of Ferraris also died. So it was it was a Ferrari massacre. But
do you know offhand how many people left the race, like without finishing?
At least one.
So 29 drivers were there at green flag, and 25 were there at the end of the race.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we did see one other Ferrari call it quits after a stop and go 30. Yeah, we did have a lot of incidents. And
oh yeah, I remember that.
How
many?
4.
Were there many drive-throughs?
There was one stop and go 30 for speeding in the pits.
I don't think anyone got a drive-through for track limits.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
That's crazy talk.
And you were talking about many drivers being on the third track limit. How many track limits were you on? And you can spill the beans on it.
No, there's none to spill. I was on 0. Like I got lucky. Apparently, if you go airborne over top of the chicane, it slows you down enough not to give you a penalty for it, not to give you a warning for it.
Also in general, I don't think it's the first chicane where most people get the track cuts. It's usually the second chicane.
True. Yeah. That one. I had such a bad time with the second chicane. I thought that I did like a decent job. I knew I wasn't fast at it, but Damiani would like on a regular basis catch up 0.3 just in that one. I'm like, how do I suck this bad? And then I would like pull out a magic lap where I'm just faster. And I nail it, and then the following lap once again 0.3 down. Just nonsense. I can't believe how poorly I was doing in that chicane.
It is definitely difficult to nail the chicane.
But it's also possible to slightly misjudge the differences there, because some people gain time under braking, they carry more entry speed, but then they get a terrible exit because they bounce too much over the curb. So it's very hard to actually tell
Yeah,
what's going to happen there.
that's true. Yeah, and we all know that like ACC time metrics are not exactly 100%.
Yes, that's also
accurate.
true.
Oh, for sure. One more final question for me. Are you going to Daytona?
No, I'm jealous. I really would like to, but that's not in the books. Not this year. We'll see about the future.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but yep.
Hopefully sometime, because I do think it's kind of like a bucket list thing.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I see it too. But yeah, not this year. But I'm looking forward to the pictures and videos and the various stories to be told afterwards.
And who won the karting? That's the important part. Who's the better driver in real life? Anyways, you have any final shout outs you want to give out before we send you back to the chat? Because we have been talking to you for a while.
Sorry, I'm hogging you guys.
All good. No. More information better for the fans and the chat.
Just a shout out to the Pillars guys. I love them to death, and it's too bad Dougie couldn't make it for this race. Hopefully we see him next time, but he's got the kid. And obviously, I meant to say this last time, but yeah, thanks to you guys too for taking care of this race and watching it with us, and giving me something afterwards to watch back the commentary and have fun a second time through. I really appreciate it.
And thank you too for putting on that show. And I'm glad that Diego was in here to hear that Rulo Spacing shout out. All right, Ilpo, you got any final questions before you send them back?
I think we have covered all the bases here.
All right, yeah. Thanks for hopping into this booth, Ivan.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Congrats
thanks,
on your P3, and we'll send you back.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye. And that was our third place finisher. Ilpo, you have a question for you before I pull our second place finisher up. From Logan, who I assume is Chris Logan. Would you be broadcasting from the Camaro GT4 cockpit?
Maybe.
Oh,
I mean,
you cut out there.
yeah, sorry. Sometimes Discord hates me. I mean, yeah, maybe. Why not?
Why not? There we go. You heard it. Okay, now we're gonna pull in our second place finisher, Ark. He's finally back in the D2 chat. I'm just gonna duck him and bring him here. Art, you're in the D2 commentary booth. Do you have us? You are. If you're talking right now, you're muted. He's muted. I don't think he wants to talk to us.
That's what happened. I'm in the stream, right?
Yes, you are in the stream. Do you have us? Or are you okay?
I was wondering what the fuck is going on.
But yeah, welcome to the stream and congrats on the podium. Congrats on second place and pole position.
Yeah, it was tough. I made a lot of mistakes in the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I got myself like 7 mistakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the last 30 minutes I had 3 warnings for cut tracks, so I had to give away 2-3 tenths into the second chicane as well. So yeah, I just take the P2 to home.
Oh, sure, yeah. You did pretty well. I guess there's a complete 180 from what happened in Nürburgring as well. So how are you feeling?
It's good. It's good. I'm basically getting used to my new rig, so I'm still making mistakes under braking. That's what happened today.
What you get?
So yeah. Mosa.
Okay.
Caíse wheel. R9 and CRP2 for the
Ooh,
pedals.
you're getting used to load cells. Yeah, it is definitely not easy to get used to a new way of braking.
Yeah, it's taking me a bit of time, so I'm getting better. But days like this one hurts because I could have done something else for the win.
But then again, this is a huge plus, and this is a huge step forward. So you can carry the momentum to Bathurst.
Yeah, I had an extra weeks as well for batters, and I like batters, so I expect another good result there.
Yeah. So you were on third track limits, right? What corner was catching you off guard the most?
What? Sorry?
What corner was the result of the three track limits?
All of them was in second chicane
Okay.
because I was like every lap I was pushing a little bit more. So I was just trying to get the best advantage into Donovan.
Yep.
So after the pits, I made one on purpose, and the next two just came because I was pushing very mad. So yeah, I had to chill out.
Yeah. Turn.
I pushed it too much.
Oh yeah, that has happened in chicane, the second chicane, especially when the fastest way is to cut as much as you can. But
Yep.
were you hoping from any mistake from Donovan, who was leading the race?
Um. He was a bit erratic the first laps, but then with like while the race was going on, I learned that he was not going to make any mistake. So I also tried the undercut, and we came back into track at the same gap. So yeah, that was uh, the call that he was not going to make mistakes. To be honest.
Yeah, you kind of triggered that undercut at the start. Like everyone started reacting to you.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, at least the top the Mustangs in the front. They start once you start going in, everyone else started going in as well, followed by starting with Donovan in the following lap.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Yeah, like I triggered the beat basically.
yeah, but
Yeah, also the Mustang were flying. Macruat and Damiani behind me. They were they were doing like 28 low, I think.
oh yeah, you guys are all
Yeah.
doing 28s.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, yeah, they chill out at the end. So I guess the tires got wear out.
Yeah,
That was good as well.
oh for sure. And even if you did not get the overall win, I believe you did get the silver win. So
Yes,
it's,
I get the silver win. It's not what I wanted because I wanted to win the race, but
yeah.
I take it. I take it. I take it. Yeah, I need to learn from my mistakes, and let's see if others can tell another story.
Hey, I mean that's how you get better.
Yep, yep. The extra week will help for sure.
Oh, I know.
It's just
I asked everyone this. I'm gonna ask. I asked the other two this. And I'm gonna ask you again. Are you going to Daytona?
I am from Argentina,
Okay.
so I'm jealous that you all are going to do the Met, but yeah, I'm not going. I will be watching the race in TV and trying to look out for you guys.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess the SRA group is gonna be big, and you definitely gonna stand out in the crowd when with everyone wearing
Yeah,
SRA t-shirts.
I expect to see some SRA flag. So yeah,
All right, you heard the chat. Make sure you guys are seen in the broadcast, especially when there isn't the obligatory Peacock ad break. But yeah, make sure you're seen.
okay.
Anyway, do you have any shout outs before we wrap this up?
Probably I don't know. Shout out to Donovan for the race he did. He made it difficult to keep the pace. So that's it.
There we go. Donovan, you got it. You got a shout out. And
Yeah.
yeah, Oppo, do you have any questions before I send them back?
No, I just want to give some props. That was very impressive performance. Like I know you feel like you should have won the race, but you're still a silver driver. Just getting the pole, finishing a bit two, no big mistakes, maybe some small ones, but hey, that's how everybody drives on this track. That was a really good race. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. I take that. Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you very much.
Congrats on your P2, and wishing you continue this momentum and get a win later the following races this season.
I'll try. I'll try. Consider that a fact.
Yes, you will hold you up to that. And yeah, we're gonna send you back to the chat. Actually, chat's empty.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you guys. Good stream.
right. And congrats again.
Thank you.
And that was our P2 finisher, Art, who got himself a new rig, and that's just gonna, he's gonna get faster every coming race.
I have a feeling someone is gonna be in D1 next season.
Yep. I was about to say that, but yeah, we haven't discussed yet. But what do you think about the race? This is a crazy race.
I mean, I think it's about what you would expect as Zolder. It tends to be a bit crazy, a bit messy, a bit everything, because it is such a track with no, like the smallest of mistakes usually leads to some big problem, and you're almost always gonna have some people who are displaced on lap one, and then you have massive fights going on when those people try to recover their positions. So I would say it's about what can be expected, but yeah, it was eventful, not boring.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, like especially if so much stuff could go wrong. One clumsy move means has so much of a penalty. I remember the last race we did in D2 at Zolder. It was like a 4-way battle for the lead, which all got thrown into wrenches because of lap traffic.
Yep.
Fortunately, we didn't have too much issues in the leaders, but man, the midfield and the back, there was there was a lot of spicy racing here.
Yep, exactly how we like it.
And I don't think the next race is gonna get any better. We have Mount Panorama, for better or for worse, as the next race, which is in 2 weeks, by the way, not next week. It's in the first week of February, which is from 2 weeks from now.
If I had to guess, I would suspect Bathurst is gonna be all about pit strategies, people crashing out on their own, and whether people behind them can avoid the wreck.
And the Mustang top speed.
Sure, but generally speaking, I don't think top speed make. Actually, I have a. It's a weird thing, but I feel like top speed doesn't actually matter that much on Bathurst because it tends to balance out pretty well with acceleration. All the corners that go under those straights are relatively low speed corners, so the cars that lack the top speed usually have the advantage on acceleration. The Mustang is a little bit of an outlier, but it's still not gonna automatically win you anything.
I don't know.
And,
I've seen people use the V12 Aston to pretty good success at Bathurst just because of how long the straights are.
yeah, but it's absolute garbage over the top.
Yeah, but this is like the few tracks where cars with good straight line speed have the advantage. The Mustang and Lexus in particular. We don't have any Mercs in D2, so you're not gonna see that monstrosity dominate. But you're gonna definitely see a lot of Mustangs, and hopefully the Lexuses in front of Logan Schaefer does race with us, and Austin Weiscarver gets a good qualifying.
Yeah, but then like the Ferraris can strike back by going for massive undercuts, which puts them in clear air. So I think it's gonna be quite an interesting race. Not necessarily the most exciting race for like overtakes and side by side action, but it's gonna be an interesting race in seeing how everybody plays the strategy game, who makes mistakes, how does it actually end up, because I cannot predict it.
This is SRA. They're gonna go too wide into Skyline, and you know it.
I would kind of hope not, because I would prefer to see more people finish the race. But I mean, who knows?
It's gonna be seen out at the opening race at cars all limping back to the pits, like completely broken, battered, and disfigured. But it's gonna be an exciting race in Man Panorama, and I am looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to MCM. I also want to give a shout out to that. Next week we're doing the 2-hour solo in Man Panorama with GT2s and GTCs.
Is that next week or this week?
Actually, you know what? Let me check on that.
I think it's this week because it's break week.
Let me check. I am.
Yes, so it is this week.
Oh, this week.
The special, and next week is back to the normal schedule.
All right, this weekend, this Friday is the 2 hours of Mount Panorama or Mount Spinorama, for all your Porsche Cup drivers driving without TC on cold tires.
If you ask me, the Cup car is probably easier around Mount Panorama.
Yes, you are correct. It is
some of the other options.
Yeah, and I believe a lot of these drivers have already been like driving in a lot in ACE, so you must have some slight understanding on how to drive the GTC in Mount Panorama.
Well, so looking at the MCM weather settings, that looks like it might actually rain in the race. I'm almost kind of sad that I'm not gonna be there because I'm in Daytona, but yeah, it's gonna be spicy.
You're gonna be out of your weather. What were you? There's no BMW. There's no M2s. That's no GT4s.
I mean, I do actually enjoy driving the Porsche Cup, so
yeah, it's a fun car.
It's a fantastic car.
But yeah, that's this weekend, and it's going to be a good break for. Well, actually, it's going to be a good coping mechanism for us who unfortunately could not make it to Daytona. But yeah, you guys can watch the carnage from the chat, I guess. But yeah, wow, we've been going on for a while. We've been live for 2 hours and 11 minutes. So I guess we should wrap it up now. If you haven't done the ad read, let me just go through it right now. A huge thank to our SRA sponsors, title sponsors, for supporting us here in SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documize.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience at retrosaga.ca. A big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE, SRA capitalized, followed by lowercase te, at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that enhances your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile Steam Deck mounts, immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative design enhances performance and style. Elevate every lap with top tier quality and craftsmanship from at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use the affiliate links in our Discord and take your drive to the next level. And yes, they do have GT2 and GTZ setups for Mount Panorama. So, I don't know, make you survive lap 1, I guess. No, they won't. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy World collectibles, magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decors, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And lastly, from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive rendering, graphic design, and painting. We spend countless hours making the good, all for that spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more. And that's the ad read, and that's a wrap for this race here. Wow, that's a mouthful actually. But yeah, this has been an exciting race. Have fun in Daytona. Look forward to seeing you guys in either MCM this week or next week in 2 weeks for more racing. I've been Arjun, and he's been Oppo, and yeah, goodbye, and thanks for watching.